The super evil reason why school trained you to be a worker. According to mythology, the most influential people assembled around 1903 or 1904. Though these individuals were rivals and commercial adversaries, they had one trait: they understood how to influence what kids are taught in schools. In most nations, public education is still a baby, having been around for less than 50 years. These were the wealthiest industrialists. They possess the majority of the world's wealth in their possession, and they need a large number of people to work in their factories. They then determined to make do with what they had in order to obtain what they required. They pretended to aid the school system by investing millions of dollars to develop the system. That money would be in the billions in today's currencies. Because whoever spends the funds has the last word, these individuals affected the school curriculum, what a child learns, and how a child is taught. According to legend, during one meeting, while the instruments of these rich capitalists gathered to explain the mathematics curriculum for schools, one of them recommended that mathematics should be designed in such a way that children think, while the other guy got up and said, "Our goal is not to train them on how to think, but how to obey." Take it or leave it, education was never intended to teach students how to think. It was created to teach you how to obey directions. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone. When I talk about entrepreneurship, someone usually tells me, not everyone can be an entrepreneur, and I agree. We train every youngster to be an employee because not everyone can be an entrepreneur. What do you think about that? Not everyone can be rich, most people remarked, so don't act as if everyone will become a billionaire. I completely agree with you. Everyone does not become a millionaire. It is not necessary for everyone to have millions of dollars. But remember, everyone deserves to live a nice life, and it costs a lot of money to do so, unless you want to live in my father's village, cultivate your own food, and sleep in a tent. Ha 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 ha, now comes the chuckle. Does it make sense to anybody when we declare not everyone can be an entrepreneur to justify the fact that school trains no one to be an employee? This is equivalent to stating, not everyone can become a soldier, so don't allow us to educate everybody to be a soldier. When we say, not everyone will become a billionaire, so don't let us teach them about money. Does that make sense to anyone? To me, this is like stating, not everyone can be a medical doctor, so don't allow us to educate everybody on how to be a doctor. Yes, not everyone can or will become a soldier. But we must have a large number of troops or our enemy will annihilate us all. Yes, not everyone aspires to be a doctor, but we need a healthy number of physicians or we would all die from simple diseases. Not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but if there aren't enough individuals to start firms, there won't be enough excellent employment for those who need them. School isn't supposed to teach you about money. Another argument I heard was, don't complain about school not teaching your children about money since school isn't intended to educate about money. People who share this viewpoint feel that school is designed to teach students about science, life, and careers. This isn't always about money. The issue I have with folks in this school of thinking is that I, like any adult, understand that money is the most essential thing after oxygen, so why should I learn about science if it won't make me money to live? If I'm broke, why should I care about trees or the moon? Why should I be interested in management or corporate employment if I won't be able to support myself? Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying science, art, or music aren't essential. I mean, why should anyone study anything in school if they aren't going to learn about money? Isn't money, after God and oxygen, the most essential thing in the world? So, why do our questionable forebears exert influence over the educational system in order to educate us how to be employees? The solution is simple: for certain people to wield unholy power in any society, a significant proportion of others in that society must be powerless. For example, in order to have a peaceful society, we must teach individuals how to be obedient. To have millions of people to exploit as laborers, the manufacturers of the 20th century needed a system of brainwashing, which I believe they did with the current educational system. Hey, your life would be amazing if you could work for a great corporation. School just teaches you. Why isn't the reverse taught in school? Why don't we teach our 10 and 15-year-olds how to establish successful businesses? How to break free from the bonds of servitude? When I say slavery, I don't want to imply that all work is slavery, but I do feel that living within water is slavery for birds. Birds were created to fly, therefore they must. The water, no matter how inviting, is not a suitable habitat for the birds. Some people are not destined to work, no matter how good the pay or the atmosphere. Those I'm referring to are the folks I feel sorry for. If your temperament and ideals match what it takes to be an employee, you've discovered your calling. If you don't fit into the world of work, you must seek methods to get out. The purpose of this film is to show you the origins of our collective predicament. Naturally, youngsters with entrepreneurial abilities should have been identified before they reach adulthood. Even as children, these children should have been educated and empowered to establish their own businesses. Why should somebody study law if their dream is to start a technological company? Why should I study science if my true interest is to start an e-commerce business? But, because you've been duped into following the herd your entire life, I'd want to call you back to where you belong. Water is a wonderful location, but only for fish. Birds are designed to fly. A decent job is a fantastic thing to have. But that is just for those who were born into that environment. If you were born to be an entrepreneur but are employed for a job, your life will be chaotic because you will be like a bird attempting to live on water. You were made for the street, the war, and the sky if you were wired to be an entrepreneur. You will never be satisfied as an employee if something in you is intended for the realm of entrepreneurship, just as a bird would never be happy within water. So, what are your options? First, understand who you are and why you are dissatisfied with your job. Second, understand that you have the ability to fly. You must understand that you are exactly where you are not because you are stupid, but because you were duped. Knowing this will give you courage. You must also be aware of your capacity to fly. You can learn to utilize the feather even if you haven't been instructed in its use. Schools do not train everyone to be an employee because everyone must be an employee. The reason school educates everyone to be an employee is that if everyone in the world was an employee, labor would be just cheap as it is now, and this is not by chance. Certain individuals sit down to develop it in this manner. It is up to you to understand who you are and to fight for what you feel you are entitled to. Thank you for taking the time to watch our videos. We'd like to show you another intriguing film soon, but first, our team would appreciate it if you could like it and share it with others on social media. If you're new here, please subscribe so you don't miss out on future intriguing films like this.